Tesla's stock market value reaches 600 billion, a record for the company at least, cementing them as the most valuable motor brand in the world, bar none. I don't know how long that's been, but they're above Toyota in Japan, Volkswagen, Germany, here in the States, Ford and GM. They're above them all. And even more so, you have the CEO, Elon Musk, becoming the second richest man in the world. And that was pretty recent as well. So that makes him behind Jeff Bezos, I believe, kind of sandwiched in between him and Bill Gates. Pretty cool. He's his most recent bit of news is him actually moving away from California into Texas, and we'll talk about why he did that right now, actually. So, we all know who Jeff Bezos is. He's a very ambitious man. He's a billionaire entrepreneur. He created, he created the first accessible, widely created electric powered vehicles. He wants to send people to the moon. So this man clearly has ambition. But what he doesn't have is, just like a clear reality check. And he knows nothing about public health issues whatsoever. So at the beginning of the pandemic, this man is pretty much calling out the government, the governor Gavin Newsom, and saying that quarantines and lockdowns were fascistic behavior because he he wanted to work, but in actuality, he wanted his employees to get back to work to make him money. So, not the best look for somebody like Elon Musk to kind of be in favor of continuing to work during the lockdown, and then there was a point where he maybe offered to provide some hospitals with ventilators, which he kind of fell through on. And the what's even more ridiculous about this is he's clearly taking cues from Donald Trump. They're on Twitter. They're like shadow tweeting each other, but like in a good way. They're just kind of back and forth with each other, and he even comes out and says maybe chloroquine will be a solution to COVID-19. And whenever I hear people mention chloroquine, it really just irritates me because that is a malaria vaccine. It's a malaria vaccine that cures malaria. It prevents the spread of malaria. That's what we know it to do. We don't have a malaria problem in this country, but in different countries, mainly in Africa, it's a seasonal thing. And as an American, we all know what we do whenever disaster strikes. I don't know if you live in an area like like a coastal area that has hurricanes, but it usually we stock up. The whole country's seen it with the quarantines when everybody was stocking up on all these supplies before lockdown started the first round back last winter actually. It was stocking up, so that's the same idea with the chloroquine. Just anybody prominent mentions that word, and there's going to be some group of people that stockpile this vaccine that is actually needed, like today, yesterday, for, people that are actually dealing with it and continue to deal with it. So, yeah, Elon Musk, I'm not really the biggest fan of him. He seems to be completely just out of touch with this entire pandemic. But it's like a bunch of other people. They just aren't really taking this as serious as we should be taking it because, I mean, let's be real. Other countries are dealing. Most of the world is really dealing with this better than we are. I believe Japan, not Japan, China, the place where it originated, I believe they've only had about 3,000 cases, like total, like 3,000 cases the entire time. So clearly, if you want to blame China, I mean, Like it hurt everybody. So it's just not valid to blame China, especially since they're dealing with it. I mean, if you're gonna blame them, then at least ask them, how they're coping with it, because their country's bigger than our country is, and they seem to know exactly what they're doing while we're over here just struggling. It's it's really weird that this country really sees like anything anything other than what they want to do as a sign of weakness, or an infringement on their freedoms. Whenever it's really not the case, it's really just kind of a it's kind of like whenever you're at work or whenever you're playing a sport, it's like a team effort. We have to come together as a community and get this done, because nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna get solved if I'm doing my part and you're just living your life. It's just gonna be a perpetual cycle of the vaccine just being in circulation to one extent or another. It doesn't matter if I have a mask and you don't. You're still gonna be a potential carrier. So I mean, the best thing to do for everybody is just to get the vaccine, but to quarantine for about 6 to 8 weeks, and just everybody just knock this out so we can all get back to normal. But people with prominence like Elon Musk, it's just really disappointing to hear that from somebody like him, somebody that you would kind of think is level headed, at least to one extent or another. But no, he's just greedy, run of the mill billionaire. At least Bill Gates is, funding a vaccine cure. You know, you don't really see Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk doing anything like this. Mark Zuckerberg, like the billionaires of this world, because there's only a handful. I mean, there's a few thousand of them, but yeah, that's like a handful when we're talking about the world population. There's about 3,000 billionaires in a population of 7 billion people. So 3,000 millionaires. I'm sorry if I said something wrong, but yeah, yeah, I don't really know where to go. So I think he actually moved his factory from California to Texas as well. So he moved his business, and you saw a similar thing with Joe Rogan moving from California to Texas. And I don't know if they just didn't know this already, or they just kind of didn't care because they were already filthy rich. But Texas, you don't have to pay a state tax. You just pay federal taxes. So if you're a businessman or if you're just a worker, you get more of your paycheck back in states that you don't have to pay a state tax, like Texas and Florida, and I think even Washington. There may be a few more, but there's literally only a few states that you don't pay a state tax. It's just straight federal. California, on the other hand, is one of the most expensive states to live in. California and New York. So I mean, you can really only live there if you're made of money. But yeah, the fact that he's moving to Texas, it might be a political thing, but it's also him getting a larger chunk of his paycheck back. And even then, he already wasn't paying taxes. People like companies like Tesla and Amazon, they don't pay taxes. They find ways around it. So it's just, before I get into all of that, I'm gonna just leave it at that, and yeah, see where this goes, because I mean, the reason why I brought the story up is just because it's just, to be in 2020 and to see millionaires continue to make money, it's getting stupid. It's really just getting stupid. That was really all I'd say. I have no words. I really just want to bring that up, that Elon Musk is prospering while the vast majority of other people are you know really really in it. So take what you will from that, and see you in the next one.